Hello again, Michael. I'm joined this week by Sally and Kate, where we're just talking about things about leadership and organizations. Thank you so much for the amazing comments and really great support you gave us from last week's talk that we did, where we explored the difference between certainty, which we're used to, and now the need for clarity of purpose, where you don't have certainty. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's on YouTube or follow us on LinkedIn, where you'll find the links. So over to you, Kate. Welcome to the informal chats. How are you doing?
Hi, Michael and Sally. Nice to see you again. I missed you last week. I had something quite sad to deal with last week, so I took some time off and I had to say no to a few things that I was booked into doing. And it got me wondering about this new remote working and Zoom and not having the proximity of my teammates right with me, what difference that makes to my resilience and whether I managed myself in the same way as I would have in the old days. So yeah, I've been thinking a lot about my resilience and the people I'm working with. I know that they've been working really hard the last 12 weeks and the adrenaline has kept us going. But actually, I think there's now even more change coming up as the shops are opening and offices are opening. And what does that mean for people? I know lots of people are going back into their offices and are worrying about this change that's so constant.
But you make an interesting point about the toughness of the initial period. Have you got a word in your mind that sort of summarizes how people reacted to the first 12 weeks of this?
Yeah, I think people have been quite brave and heroic. That they've taken the challenge with both hands and worked really hard. I know that, that most of the people most of my colleagues and also the people I'm coaching and working with are definitely putting in the extra effort to get everything done that they can. Yeah.
What about you, Sally? What are you seeing?
Oh, well, Kate, I'm really sorry to hear that you had something sad to deal with last week. But what I was really pleased to hear is that you took the time to pause and to look after yourself and to focus on your family and what you needed. And it's really interesting that you talk about resilience, because that's actually been a really big feature of the coaching sessions that I've been having with two leaders this week. So I've been working with two leaders through the pandemic, but I've been also coaching them for the last year. And what was interesting is the common themes. They're senior leaders. They both have children at home. They're working full time. Their partners are working full time. And just as you said, those first few weeks, they were working with their teams. The teams worked brilliantly. There was a common purpose. They had to get their head down and get things sorted, and they did. And then the next few weeks, actually, they were embedding. They were checking on the well-being of their teams. They were running some social activities. But then with the announcements this week about education and schools, I think they both suddenly realised that actually things are not going to go back to the way they were. And it took me to call out that question about where their resilience was, because I really noticed in both of them, they were very flat, they seemed exhausted, and I was really concerned about some of the decisions that they were talking about. And so I had to call them out and actually ask, how they were feeling. And their concerns about their own resilience, they suddenly realised the way they've been working is not sustainable. And so I was actually saying to them, we were talking about what they needed to do, and I came up with the word courage. The courage perhaps to be vulnerable and to actually say, this is not sustainable. It's a real challenge for them.
And that's really interesting, that the downside of bravery is burnout. The downside of bravery, you can't keep it on forever. And I love this idea that people need to be courageous. We do need courage, but it's courage to step up. And it goes for me back to the extent to which the leader has created a space where people can be vulnerable, created that psychological safe space where you can go, do you know what, I need help, or I'm not coping, or I just need a break. It's a big challenge for individuals to show that courage, but for leaders to make sure that they're listening and observing their people as well.
Yeah. So we're asking, I've been talking to some of the people I coach about, how are they reaching out to others? How are they showing empathy and compassion, etc. And actually turning that onto themselves and showing themselves some compassion and empathy and listening to themselves. So it's a skill, isn't it? That introspection and time. And I saw something the other day about the time people spend looking after their well-being. Less than 30% of people spend less than an hour looking at planning their own well-being for the week. So if we could, help people spend more time, more people spend more time looking at their own well-being, what they're going to do about that per week, that would be helpful.
So there you are, folks. That's what we're thinking about this week. This huge need to be courageous, and the bravery was great, but now we need courage to look after ourselves, to put our own oxygen masks on first, and courage to talk to our leaders about what's going on for us. So take care. We'll see you again next week. Thank you very much.